Cycling has a new problem because in 2025, a 21-year-old in only his second professional season has exploded onto the scene even more. He's tearing up the script completely. That is, of course, Isaac Del Toro. Del Toro isn't just winning races, he's breaking records and eclipsing even achievements Pogacar hasn't done, conquering some of the biggest races already and carrying the prestigious Maglia Rosa longer than any rider in history at his age has ever done. But before we start the video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel here on the Cycling Dane, and why not check out the comparison between Pogacar and Isaac Del Toro. At the start of the year, no one expected this, but Del Toro opened his campaign at the Vuelta a Murcia, where he rode very well for his team and managed to bag himself a 7th place. 2 days later at the gravel race Classica Jaén, he was up there with the favorites, looking very strong. Wasn't able to win the race, but did attack strong and soloed to the finish to get a 2nd place behind Mikhail Kwiatkowski. Within a week, it was clear Del Toro wasn't easing into his 2nd season. He was coming for the big names. He then hit the early classics, the Ardèche and Drôme Classic, riding selflessly for teammate Juan Ayuso. Then at Strade Bianche, where he emptied himself to help Pogacar to a 3rd victory on the white gravel roads, and he didn't chase personal glory that day because the real test was awaiting him. The next challenge was Milano Torino race, a historic race to say the least, and here, the oldest one-day race on the calendar, he was up there towards the front and attacking in the crucial moment and taking an impressive victory. That victory also made him the youngest winner of the race this century, with the race's youngest winner being 17 years old. Days later, at the first monument of the year, he managed to finish 13th, the best young rider and best Latin American rider in the race. But after a great tour of the Basque Country, where he managed to finish 4th on the final stage, taking 15th overall and winning the youth classification, it was time for his 2nd Grand Tour ever at the Giro d'Italia. This was his first Giro, no pressure, no expectation, just another stepping stone in his development. And then on stage 9, on the gravel stage into Siena, he fought the brutal gravel roads, turned into his playground, and in the crucial moment of the race, he proved his caliber, managing to stay with Wout van Aert and just finishing 2nd in Siena. But it also meant that he would be pulling on the Maglia Rosa, the first Mexican ever to lead the Giro d'Italia. He had 9 days in the pink jersey, becoming the youngest rider to hold it for that long, and on stage 17 he added a victory of his own while racking up podium finishes on multiple stages along the way. In the end, only Simon Yates, with some bad tactical decisions by UAE on the fearsome Col della Finestra, could deny Del Toro the overall win. Del Toro stood on the final podium in Rome as the runner-up in the Giro d'Italia and also the winner of the white jersey as the best young rider. In his 2nd season, he had already matched what most riders can only dream of in their entire career. And he wasn't done there, not even close. Fresh off his Giro d'Italia heroics, the 21-year-old Mexican, already hailed as one of the sport's brightest stars, delivered a staggering performance at the 2025 Tour of Austria. The race began with UAE Team Emirates immediately stamping their authority on the race. On stage 1, Felix Großschartner claimed the victory, leading a UAE 1-2-4-5 and setting the tone for the week. On the uphill finish on stage 2, Del Toro outsprinted Andrew August to claim his first victory of the race. Stage 3, however, was a sterner test, a 7.5 kilometer climb up to Geisberg, averaging 8%. Once again, it came down to Del Toro and August, but the Mexican proved stronger, riding clear in the final kilometers to win by 5 seconds and take control of the general classification. Then came stage 4 with a brutal ascent that proved the hardest test of the race, yet Del Toro rose to the challenge. On the steepest ramps, he powered away from his rivals to secure his 3rd victory of the race, this time over Archie Ryan of EF Education EasyPost. The victory completed his hat-trick and put him firmly in the leader's jersey, 29 seconds clear of Archie Ryan, with UAE teammate Rafa Majka in 3rd place, 47 seconds down. For UAE, the Tour of Austria had been nothing short of domination, 4 stage wins, with Del Toro emerging as the undisputed star. The victories also carried wider significance. His stage 2 triumph marked UAE's 61st victory of the season. coming just hours after Pogacar had taken the team's 60th victory at the Tour de France. With 61 victories, nearly double the tally of second-place Little Trek, UAE was really dominating the season's winning rankings, and Del Toro's rise had been central to that momentum. With his victory as well, Del Toro became the second youngest winner of the race, only by 5 days to Frank Vandenbroek. Del Toro, though, wasn't done there. Just weeks after his dominant display at the Tour of Austria, the 21-year-old Mexican confirmed his place among cycling's elite with that dominant performance at the Vuelta a Burgos. The race began with drama on stage 1 when Del Toro looked like he was in prime position to try and make a gallop for the stage win. However, both Del Toro and Ciccone were caught up in a crash as Del Toro took the corner a bit too fast, leaving the Mexican bruised but unshaken. By stage 3, he was once again in the elite group, but he'd slipped behind French prospect of Leo Bizio, who soloed to the victory after the group of favorites stalled looking at each other and the Frenchman claimed the leader's jersey. Heading into the finale, the stage was going to be divisive, with Del Toro trailing the young Bizio by 26 seconds. The odds were definitely against him. With 3 kilometers to go, Del Toro and Ciccone surged clear of a reduced group, leaving Bizio clinging desperately to wheels behind. Then with 800 meters left, Ciccone launched a vicious attack that Del Toro couldn't quite follow, powering to a deserved win for the Italian. Del Toro, however, was still pushing, held firm, grinding to the summit, just seconds behind the Italian. More importantly, he crossed the line 45 seconds ahead of Bizio, flipping the standings and securing the overall victory. Del Toro didn't just take the general classification, he also claimed the youth classification, adding another white jersey to his growing collection and cementing his reputation as the next great Grand Tour rider. His win as well made him the 3rd youngest winner of the race as well, coming behind Remco Evenepoel and Ivan Souza. Reflecting after the stage, Del Toro's composure stood out. He hadn't panicked when Bizio seemed to have the race under control. He bided his time, trusted his climbing legs, and delivered when it mattered most. For UAE Team Emirates, it was yet another statement of his dominance in the 2025 season as the young Mexican continued to rise through the ranks with breathtaking speed. But he wasn't finished there, as in September he delivered one of the most spectacular weeks of the entire season for one rider. The team elected not to send him to the Vuelta a España. Instead, he spent his September largely in Italy. The first race was the GP Industria, where Del Toro managed to get in the race-winning selection, and from there he out-sprinted fellow competitors. This fine form was continued a few days later at the Giro della Toscana. Here, Del Toro attacked with 7 kilometers to go, keeping a firm distance to the chasers, and even when it leveled off, he still had a margin and managed to hold them off to secure the win. Del Toro's form continued into the Coppa Sabatini. Here he launched another attack with 7 kilometers from the finish, with 2 riders joining him, but the Mexican managed to dislodge them with 300 meters from the line on the uphill kick and got clear of them to win the race and complete the hat-trick. A hat-trick that not even Pogacar had managed to do in his career so far. Following the success there, unfortunately the momentum stopped a bit at the Memorial Marco Pantani, but then came the Trofeo Matteotti, where the Mexican made the race-winning selection into Pescara and showed how good his sprint is as well, navigating towards the front and in the right moment pouncing and thereby winning his 4th Italian one-day race in a single week. A hat-trick of Italian classics plus 1 more just for good measure. Not a 21-year-old in his 2nd year on the World Tour stage. By the autumn of 2025, the numbers told their own story and the season isn't even over. Del Toro had racked up more than 10 victories, won stage races, conquered classics, nearly won a Grand Tour, and in the process broke some of Tadej Pogacar's records and even a Giro d'Italia record. Isaac Del Toro isn't the future of cycling, he's the present, and in 2025 he has shown exactly why he's unstoppable. The kind of dominance usually reserved for legends of the sport. Anyways, with that, that's basically it for this video of Isaac Del Toro. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and do check out the comparison of Tadej Pogacar with Eddy Merckx, or even Isaac Del Toro's comparison with Tadej Pogacar. But anyways, with that, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you around.